The new presidential limousine poised, ready to travel down Pennsylvania Avenue. $250,000 it costs altogether. It's got public address systems in there, 2 stereo systems, done in tasteful tones of polished wood and blue. 3 presidential seals inside, embroidered.
That one is right now out of our view. It is on the east side of the Capitol. They will then make their way down past our position here at Constitution Avenue and onto Pennsylvania Ave, finally stopping at the reviewing stand in front of the White House, which is where the parade will eventually pass. The parade was to have gotten underway about 13 minutes ago, but as we noted, we are running behind on time. Would suspect that by the time he gets that reviewing stand, we'll be about 20 or 25 minutes behind schedule.
I'll bet more, because he's going to get out and walk. I just know it.
Well, we'll see. It'll be a nice touch. If he is going to get out and walk, he has not given any indication of that publicly.
Well, they don't want to do that because for security reasons.
Obviously.
You remember that George and Barbara Bush walked as well, but they waited till they got to about the Treasury Department, I think, and then walked to the last block and a half down Pennsylvania Avenue. And of course, Jimmy and Rosalind Carter got out early and walked the entire distance.
That was the high point of the day. Unfortunately, may have been the high point of the 4 years, too. The crowd, meanwhile, has, it would seem, waited pretty patiently. From our vantage point, most of the people who have been here throughout the day are still there, and their enthusiasm does not seem to be waning. We can now see the first glimpses of the motorcade from our position here.
Very heavy security arrangements around the nation's capital now. Those are not just decorative flower pots. That's part of effectively a cordon around your Capitol building here in Washington, D.C. It's changed dramatically in the last 10 years or so. Now, many more gates to go through. Much more electronic surveillance of every kind. This motorcade is testimony to the heightened security awareness. Bulletproof windows, armor-plated limousine, and a whole lot of outriders.
Some of the military units that were passing in review of the president as he came out of the east side of the Capitol are now leading the parade, making its way down Constitution Avenue towards the intersection with Pennsylvania, and the motorcade will be following in behind those units. It's amazing to me the amount of trash that a crowd can leave. We're looking at those areas where people had been standing during the swearing in and have now since taken up positions along the road to watch the parade. But this town that had been swept clean and seemed litter-free only hours ago now just seems laden with paper.
Every manhole cover along the motorcade route has been welded shut. Every office window and rooftop along the parade route has been checked and rechecked. Newspaper racks removed. There are sharpshooters all along the way, and an untold number of plainclothes security people within those crowds.
What would have been our first inauguration with such security? Johnson's?
Oh, it wasn't as great for Johnson. I really think that it began to change when the hostages began to be taken in the Middle East after the Iran situation. I think it was greatly heightened when you think back during the Reagan inauguration. But for example, the Jimmy Carter administration, that inaugural day was not nearly as tightly controlled for security purposes. There's always an enormous amount of protection around a president, obviously, but it's been heightened by my rough estimate by a factor of 10. They shut down whole sections of town for a half an hour or 45 minutes before he leaves an area that is some distance from where he's going to get to. And it's very hard for us to know the exact nature of the threat. They get lots of anonymous calls, and they pick up all kinds of intelligence of things, so it can be an enormous nuisance in a free democracy, but at the same time, we don't have enough information to be absolutely critical of it.
We get an awful lot of support for the nuisance factor this week. People have been trying to make their way around town. Would normally allow 10 minutes for travel from one site to another, are finding that it takes 3 and 4 times that time because sections are closed off, as you know.
Time in coming, this moment. Democrats reclaiming the White House. Bill Clinton and Al Gore and their contemporaries grew up with John F. Kennedy, and they thought that he would set the standard for the rest of their adult lives. And then, of course, he was snatched away by an assassin's bullet. That gave way to Lyndon Johnson, who had 1 full term, and then a run of Republicans interrupted only briefly by Jimmy Carter for 4 years. And the last 12 years, it has been Ronald Reagan and George Bush. Katie Couric, you're down there in the motorcade?
Yeah. Is that you, Tom?
Sure is.
Hi, Tom. You know, they finally have the national media where they want us. We've been put on these flatbed trucks with fencing around us. Luckily, they're not electric fences, and we're not headed to the stockyards. But I just have to show you a quick view of what we look like in the media. Tim, if you can just pan over and shoot all those still photographers. You can see at very close quarters here following the presidential motorcade, but really it is the best seat in the House. Tim, if you can come back around and show us President Clinton and Mrs. Clinton and Chelsea, they're right behind me in that limousine, as you can see. According to some Secret Service agents I spoke with, there's a really good possibility that they will get out and shake hands with the crowd. In fact, there was a big joke going around Capitol Hill, Tom and Bryant, that some of the security guards had to remove the right hands on the statue, lest Bill Clinton stop and shake those as well. So there's a very good possibility that he's going to get out and want to mingle with the crowd. The crowds are amazing here. They're about 12 deep. They're on both sides of Pennsylvania Avenue, and there are a lot of them holding flags. The first sign that the president was able to see was Republicans for Clinton, and that must have made him feel very good indeed. Now, right behind him, there's a security package, a number of Secret Service agents, and that is followed by a car carrying Vice President and Mrs. Gore, their 3 daughters, and their son. Then they're followed by another so-called vice presidential escort, and just like the Bowles, the vice presidential escort is smaller than the presidential escort.
Katie, we're getting a shot looking east as the motorcade comes along behind you. You're getting any indication as to where he might get out?
You know, no one knows, and as Tom, I think, mentioned earlier, Bryant, I think for security reasons, they would never let that kind of information get out. So we'll just have to wait and see what he does.
Now, Katie, we would assume that if he gets out and has anything to say, he'll say it to you.
Sure, he's just going to walk straight over to our flatbed truck, Bryant, and talk to me probably for about 15 minutes or so.
And Britt Hume, standing right behind you, will just let you have the entire interview, I'm sure.
Absolutely. Britt's a real gentleman.
Well, Katie, I dare say I don't think that you'll probably be able to generate much public sympathy for the press being penned up on a flatbed truck. I think there are a whole lot of folks out there who believe that that's where we belong most of the time. I'm led to wonder if there aren't young people out there today who heard that speech of Bill Clinton calling them to public service, who are watching this and are thinking, someday I want to ride down Pennsylvania Avenue in a presidential motorcade, the chief executive of the United States, who are inspired by this young man, 46 years of age, who's come to the most powerful job in the world. We're going to continue our coverage of this Bill Clinton inaugural day, his parade now well underway, right after this station break.
NBC News coverage of the Clinton inaugural will continue.
An all-new eyewitness video Sunday. A bizarre accident leaves a truck teetering on a bridge. But wait, there's a woman trapped inside. See the dramatic rescue. Then a death-defying journey across the Atlantic Ocean. He challenges nature's fury and wins. And eyewitness, a cop, take down 2 escaped convicts while his dad rolls tape. Those videos and more. An all-new eyewitness video NBC Sunday.
It's National's 99-cent sale with fresh whole chicken breasts, 99 cents a pound. Fresh pork steaks, 99 cents a pound. Pure and sweet sugar, 99 cents. President's Choice Cola 6-packs, 99 cents. Wishbone salad dressing, 99 cents. Brawny paper towels, 2 for 99 cents. Canned vegetables, 3 for 99 cents. Kellogg's Frosted Bran Flakes, 99 cents. Sliced slab bacon, 99 cents a pound and more. Plus Red Delicious apples, half price, 49 cents a pound. And Healthy Choice Quick Meals, 3 for $5 at National.
You're watching News Channel 5, where the news comes first.
Good afternoon, I'm Jeff Fowler. Here at home, supporters and Republicans alike have a lot to say about the new administration. We'll hear what some of you have to say at 5. Also, hundreds looking for work are betting on a new opportunity. We'll have details on the riverboat job fair. And police have more clues in yesterday's school fire. We'll have a live report as the story unravels. It's all on News Channel 5 at 5, and another news update coming in 1 hour.
This News Channel 5 update was sponsored by Missouri Lottery.
Wednesday afternoon,
Right.
some of the youngsters who managed to get front row seats, or standing room I should say, on Constitution Avenue for a glimpse of the presidential motorcade as it makes its way up Constitution Avenue and then the turn onto Pennsylvania Avenue. From there proceeding to the reviewing stand where all the parade participants will be passing in review.
And you're quite right, the parade officially is not underway yet. This is the forerunner of the parade is the president proceeding down Pennsylvania Avenue, accepting the acclaim of the American people, and then he will review the parade as it begins. And it's now well behind schedule, Brian. We're going to be 35, 40 minutes behind schedule before this is all over. That's one of the few signs of protest. That's referring, of course, to what is going on in Iraq. For his part, Clinton has said to Saddam Hussein that he will continue the policies of George Bush, that if Saddam Hussein continues to defy the UN resolutions, he will continue the military attacks against those targets. And as he said on Sunday, as we talked about this, I will do what I have to do. Margaret Larson, Brian's Today Show colleague of NBC News, is down there at the Navy Memorial. Margaret, a lot of enthusiasm.
Tom, yes, indeed. There are a lot of young people, a lot of children, families who've been out here since 6:30 this morning waiting to have a good seat for this parade, and they are seeing the fruits of their labor now as the U.S. Army infantry staff and field band and the military academy and Army Active Company come rolling down Pennsylvania Avenue in advance of the president and his wife. We're seeing a lot of American flags being waved. There have been some people who've come by earlier passing these flags out. People have been very generous to pass them back to the folks who didn't have such great seats so that everybody could pay honor to this country and to the new president. We're waiting, and we understand the president is a couple of blocks away now. We're here on 9th Street and Pennsylvania Avenue, across the street from the National Archives. We're about halfway between the White House and the Capitol. Everybody here, as you can see, waving the flag, letting out a cheer, waiting to greet the new president.
See you. Couric, you're still down there penned up in that flatbed truck?
Yeah, I'm still here, Tom. I'm not going anywhere.
We like it so we know we can find you every time.
That's right. Hey, Tom and Brian, I should point out that President Clinton has been saying, hey, how you doing? Glad to see you, through some kind of loudspeaker coming from his car. So while he hasn't actually gotten out and touched anybody yet, he's touching them with his voice.
Yeah, that new limo that Tom was alluding to has a public address system.
Wow, that's like James Bond, isn't it?
Yeah, if one of the seats ejects, let us know.
Yeah, I will.
It's the incredible talking limousine.
That's right.
If anyone is concerned about the schedule, and it doesn't seem that they are, they're now running somewhere in the neighborhood of 25 minutes behind schedule. But again, no one seems to be in a hurry to make it up.
We have all kinds of things that we've accumulated over the past several months getting ready for this occasion, and we want to make sure that you know everything that there is to know about Bill Clinton and this day and what we can expect. For example, in Washington, trying to take advantage of the arrival of Bill Clinton, there's already a new restaurant called Slick Willie's on Pennsylvania Avenue. On the menu, Big Willie burgers, double-deckers of beef and cheese, Arkansas chicken, and Sloppy Al's. They were called Sloppy Joe's before the inauguration. And Bill Clinton, who is known as almost an incurable snack food addict, although he now claims that he's gone cold turkey and he's not eating any of it anymore.
No burgers?
Nope, he says that he's absolutely cut all of that out. But apparently we've done some detailed research on this, and cinnamon glazed California almonds are his favorite. 1 ounce, 176 calories, 16 grams of fat, 1 cup, 970 calories. That sounds like the diet that you and I both eat.
Yeah, right. It's tough to tell how much of this stuff that you read is apocryphal. You were a Beltway resident for some time. Maybe you can tell me, is it true that Pennsylvania Avenue is so named to mollify the folks in that state who were somewhat upset because the capital had been moved from Philadelphia to Washington?
That's right. That's the understanding. And if it's not true, it'll do until we find out.
Okay. In the interim, we'll try to find out the truth of that, and we'll take a commercial break right here. We'll come back.
The presidential inaugural ceremonies are being sponsored in part by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? It's more than just a question. It's an answer.
Are they coming out now? Yeah, here they go. And the winner is Ford Probe GT.
We recently accepted the Motor Trend Car of the Year award. But the real trophy is yours to take home. Ford Probe GT, a lean carb shape, a button-down cockpit, pure 24-valve performance, and now, Motor Trend Car of the Year.
When I get a yeast infection, I want an effective cure at a reasonable price. So I switched from Gynolotrimine to Mycelex 7, because Mycelex has the same full prescription strength medicine, and it costs a lot less. So now my choice, my cure, is Mycelex.
Trouble with heartburn? Well, you could change your lifestyle, or better still, reach for Rolaids for fast relief. So if you can't change your life, get Rolaids relief in calcium, too.
There's an ingredient in Efferdent you may not expect. Antibacterial Efferdent, made with Arm & Hammer baking soda. Leaves dentures baking soda fresh and clean.
The worst? She's coughing and miserable.
And you don't know how to help.
Exactly.
The best, for me, improved Triaminic.
Our pediatrician told us about it.
Me too.
Give us your worst. We'll give you our best. Improved Triaminic, the brand pediatricians recommend most.
It's great.
Here's the kind of news you like. We've made New Depend even stronger. What do you say about that?
I say great. I feel more protected already. Tell me more.
New Stronger Depend is the only undergarment with Ultra Absorb Lock. Just look how much stronger this absorbent middle is compared to most others. Ultra Absorb Lock holds liquid in as it holds together.
Well, I'm convinced.
That's what I call protection. Ultra Absorb Lock, only from New Stronger Depend. Get back into life.
Stately and yet festive procession of the new president of the United States going down Pennsylvania Avenue, trailed not too far behind by his vice president, Al Gore. We're at the Navy Memorial now, and if I recall correctly, NBC's Margaret Larson is there. That's Pennsylvania. That's where they are right there. You can see on Pennsylvania Avenue. A place that has really been restored, by the way, in quite grand fashion. Margaret, are they about your location?
Tom, they're just coming up now. In fact, the announcer, Katie's waving to her. She's right in front of me right now. The announcer here locally just said that Bill Clinton was on his way, and the crowd literally went bananas. Just an explosion of American flags and red, white, and blue pom-poms. Everybody waiting to see the president, and of course hoping that this will be the spot that he chooses to jump out of the car and give the Secret Service a coronary and say hello to everyone. But so far, that hasn't happened. We encourage him, though. Let me see if I can wave him over. That's not going to work. Tommy's passing by right now, and again, the crowd extremely enthusiastic.
Margaret, is he still making liberal use of that PA system?
No, not right now. In fact, the only thing I can hear is just the crowd behind me waving and cheering, and we had a little bit of music earlier, but no, we haven't heard a thing out of that loudspeaker here.
How deep are the crowds there? What are we talking, 4 or 5 deep, or more along the 10, 12
much more
range?
than that. 4 and 5 deep when that is all that can fit, but there is a reviewing stand behind me that's probably 10, 15 rows deep. It is completely full, and in lots of places, people are 20, 25 deep. Children generally sitting along the curbside where the security cordoned off the street, and behind them as many people as can possibly fit. It's absolutely packed here.
There was a time in American life, of course, when presidents rode to the Capitol and back in open cars, in convertibles. That time came to an end on a November afternoon in 1963 in Dallas, Texas.
To go back into my notes to find it, it seems that Warren G. Harding, back in 1921, was the first of our presidents to even use one of those automobiles to go back and forth to his inauguration. He had a couple of firsts. His was also the first to be described on radio, though the coverage was very limited. And his was the first time loudspeakers were used, and the public could listen into the events as they went.
Here's a very recent demonstration of the limits of power. George Stephanopoulos, who is the new White House communications director, very close to the new president, was walking back to the White House from the Capitol after the swearing in, got caught in the crowd near the Commerce Department and was trapped there. Had to get a reporter to flag down a police car. The police car had to call on a radio to check it out. Is George Stephanopoulos really who he says he is? And they said, yes, he is.
What?
And then they said, okay, you can cross the courtyard of the Commerce Department to get back in. Fact is, I'm sure when the policeman looked at George Stephanopoulos, said, that's a visiting 7th grader.
I was about to say it was not helped by the fact that the very youthful Mr. Stephanopoulos looks like the choir boy in about the 7th grade. Right. Going back in just a moment. Lots more ahead of the parade on this Inauguration Day 93 after these messages.
You might think because I'm a model, I've got it pretty easy. But I'll tell you what, you've got to eat smart to stay looking good. So I ate Kellogg's Special K. It's the only cereal that's both fat-free and a good source of protein. A grapefruit hardly has any protein. Cottage cheese does, but it also has fat. Hey, it's my job to know this stuff, and this is one smart breakfast. Kellogg's Special K. Get the protein, lose the fat.
January, he was Mr. Right. February, Mr. Wrong. March, he's back. There's only one calling plan that adjusts with you. Off again, on again, never again. It's the most from Sprint. The most saves you on whomever you call the most each month. Even when it changes, it's automatic. Could be the easiest part of your relationship.
There's never been a tissue like new Ultra Soft Puffs.
It's amazing. This is like a powder puff. I have just discovered something that is really great.
4 out of 5 people prefer the softness of new puffs over the leading regular tissue.
This is softer tissue. Here. It's really, really soft. Oh, that is soft.
Soft enough to make you switch?
Once you use Puffs, you'll never go back to anything else. The old brand is history. I am definitely switching to Puffs.
Switch to new Ultra Soft Puffs. So soft, they're like first aid for your sore nose.
Nobody takes my Puffs.
Well, the first time I tried it, it was like, whoa, this is a new experience.
Introducing new Arm & Hammer Dental Care Tartar Control Gel.
With the Arm & Hammer Tartar Control, it's just like I left the dentist chair. You know that polish feeling you get when the tartar's gone and your teeth feel brand new? Arm & Hammer is the only tartar control gel with baking soda and a fresh mint taste. So now I get that fresh from the dentist feeling anytime I feel like it.
New Arm & Hammer Tartar Control Gel for that fresh from the dentist feeling of clean. And now you can try the feeling for free. Look for this free trial size coupon in Sunday's papers.
We're back on the presidential motorcade route as Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton and their daughter Chelsea make their way down Pennsylvania Avenue to the Pennsylvania Avenue Parade Reviewing Stand right in front of their new address at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. That's the White House, of course. There is so much emphasis on youth in this administration. This president and his vice president are younger than the Beatles, younger than Mick Jagger. Younger than a lot of us in America, of course, who have gotten used to the idea that presidents are almost always older, but these two are not. And if you think they're young, wait until you begin to see the people that they have immediately around them in the White House. George Stephanopoulos, just 31 years old, for example. A whole lot of folks in the 30-something generation, and a good many of them who have key positions who are only 20-something. NBC's Maria Shriver, whose name shall remain a secret, is standing by at the presidential reviewing stand now with Dee Dee Myers, who's another member of the young crowd, right, Maria?
That's right, Tom. She is. She's just gotten here. And what can you tell us how the president feels? How did he think he did?
He feels great. It's been a fantastic day from the church service this morning to the whole swearing-in process, his meeting with the president here in the White House earlier this morning.
What was that like? How would you describe the mood between the two men? What did they talk about? What did Barbara Bush and Hillary Clinton talk about?
Well, I think it was a very amicable meeting. I think in many ways a sad day for President Bush as he said goodbye to many of the people that have worked in the White House for the last 4 years and that he's seen for the last 12 years. But he's been very gracious throughout this transition, and today was no exception.
I talked to a couple of people in here who work in the White House who are bringing food and drinks in and out, and they said that they would describe it as very sad in there. Mm-hmm. Is that the mood?
Well, I think it was a sad day for the Bushes, and it's President Clinton is a very sensitive person, and I think he understands what it's like to lose. He has great respect for President Bush. I think he wishes him all the best, and I think he sort of understood how President Bush was feeling at that point.
What advice did Barbara Bush give Hillary Clinton?
I don't know. But as you know, when the first time they met and Barbara Bush gave Hillary a tour of the White House, Hillary just was so impressed by how friendly she was, and she gave her some very interesting advice, and the two of them have a really terrific rapport.
Okay, Dee Dee Myers, thank you. Now, I hope you're going to go into the reviewing stand and help us so that we can talk to Roger Clinton, Hillary's brothers, or Virginia Kelly, all of whom went by here and are said that they're not allowed to talk to anybody, but I hope you'll help us out. Dee Dee Myers, back to you, Brian.
All right, Maria Shriver, thanks so very much. Also along the parade route this morning, we haven't heard from Sumi's still on the parade route. We haven't been able to talk to him for a couple of hours. It's our Tom Pettit. Tom, where are you and what's going on? Hello, Tom Pettit.
This crowd at 13th and Pennsylvania is expecting him to get out of the car here. That is their hope, and that is their wish. I'm here with an 89-year-old former school teacher from Memphis, Tennessee, Dora Todd. Did you ever think you would see this?
I certainly did not, and I thank God for the privilege of doing so.
You were here for John F. Kennedy's parade, were you, or not?
I was not. I wanted to be, but I was working then. But now I'm free at last. I'm here.
You're thankful that you're here alive, right?
I'm thankful that I'm here and alive and able to witness such an occasion.
What would you say to the president if you could?
If I could talk to this president, I'd tell him to do your job and do a good one. God bless.
Dora Todd, 89 years old, from Memphis, Tennessee. Among the well-wishers lining Pennsylvania Avenue, just past the District of Columbia building now. Well, they hoped he would get out of the car.
Let's go down to NBC's Katie Couric, who is in that motorcade on the back of a flatbed truck that's been arranged for a television journalist. And Katie is there now. Katie, we are very close to the White House, so if he's going to get out, it's probably going to be fairly soon.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see, Tom. I'm actually somewhat surprised he hasn't gotten out already, but we'll just have to see what he does now. You know, Bryant was asking Margaret earlier if the crowds were 4 or 5 deep. It is just unbelievable. In some cases, the crowds take up 2 city blocks. There are so many people out here to catch a glimpse of Bill Clinton. And, of course, there are millions and millions of little miniature flags being waved all over the place and a lot of signs like "We love Bill and Al" and "Welcome Socks." And then other people are using the opportunity to make a political statement by holding up signs that say things like "AIDS can't wait" and "Keep abortion legal." But for the most part, it's just a bunch of a sort of sea of little American flags and a lot of very, very excited people.
Katie, how many blocks to the White House now? It's at 1600 Pennsylvania. Where are you at, about 1400?
Actually, we're right at 15th Street, Tom, so we're just getting ready to turn that corner and do that little zigzag that you have to do to get to the White House. So, you know, it would be really surprising, at least to me, if he does not get out of the car. I don't know what you guys think, but I put my money on a few handshakes out here on Pennsylvania Avenue.
In fairness to him, they are running so far behind schedule that he might be under considerable pressure to make sure that they try to pick up a little bit of time. But you're right, at this point now, it would almost be an upset if he went there all the way in the car.
And Bryant, you know, Washingtonians go absolutely bananas when these dignitaries, whether they're U.S. or foreign dignitaries, get out of their car. I remember when I was a local news reporter, Mikhail Gorbachev got out of his limousine on Connecticut and K Street and shook all the hands of all these office workers, and boy, that scored major points here in Washington.
Yeah, on that occasion, we apocryphally, there was kind of an apocryphal story that he was getting out to go to Duke Zeber's, and then somebody told him about the quality of the food, and he went back into the car. He's now made the turn there. That's just by the Treasury Department. The back of the Treasury Department has only the faintest possible resemblance to the steps of the Capitol, but there was someone in town last night who drove by and said, "Gee, that doesn't look like they're ready for tomorrow's swearing in yet." And we had to point out, no, that's not the Capitol, that's the Treasury Department.
What time was this observation, huh?
It was after 4 cocktail parties.
I was going to say, there had to be a reason.
Tom and Brian, can you hear me?
Yeah, sure can, Katie. Go ahead.
I just saw a man in a wheelchair, and I know Margaret mentioned this earlier, but there is wheelchair accessibility all along the parade route, as well as sign language interpreters. Oh, here he goes. He's getting out of the limo.
Getting out.
We thought it would happen, and it is.
The overwings.
Yep.
I think it was about here that George Bush was.
Is that right? Secret Service obviously scrambling in advance of the new president.
4 years ago, Bill Clinton was in Little Rock, Arkansas on this day, worrying about trying to get a 1% increase in the Arkansas sales tax and trying to get a new prison built for his state. Now he assumes the burdens and the excitement and responsibilities of being the chief executive of the most powerful nation in the world.
It would appear that he's getting out not necessarily to shake hands, but to walk the rest of the way onto the White House.
Secret Service will not want him getting too close to that crowd. They just cannot control what's going on in there. And as one who was witnessed twice with Gerald Ford, once when a gun was pulled on him and another time when he was shot, it's the prudent course. There are no metal detectors along the parade route to get people into those places, so they just don't know what's going on in that crowd.
Hey, Katie, we saw Chelsea get out of the car, but she's not in our view right now. Where is she?
Brian, I was just trying to figure out where she went, and I see a figure waving out of the limo, and I believe that Chelsea got back into the limo, because rest assured, if she were out of the limo, she would be in plain view, I would think, and surrounded by Secret Service agents. The crowd is absolutely going nuts. And as you all mentioned, they don't seem to be shaking any hands, but President Clinton's doing a lot of waving and gesturing to a very appreciative crowd. For some reason, Tom, he is not headed in my direction.
Must not know you're there, Katie.
First miscalculation he's made all day, Katie.
apparently she's opting not to.
Has she passed his position, Katie?
I'm not sure, you know, Bryant. I don't really know. What is his position?
No, I think he's right across from the reviewing stand, so we still have... Katie, help us, Katie, with what Mrs. Clinton is wearing.
You know, I was afraid you'd ask me that, Tom, you fashion plate you. So let me tell you, I came prepared. She was wearing a cadet blue princess-shaped coat. She's wearing, well, this says a fuchsia dress, but that doesn't look like a fuchsia dress.
No, it's a two-piece wool suit, isn't it?
Yeah, it sure is. Do you think she changed between the swearing in and this event?
That's possible.
Well,
No,
she
that
is
looks
wearing...
like what she had on this morning when she went to the church
It
service.
was. Okay, well, then this wire story I got was incorrect. She is wearing a hat, as you can see. And it's a blue velour hat with a big off-the-face brim by Darcy Creech, a Connecticut milliner, which completes her ensemble.
Well done. Even though she is determined to reshape the role of First Lady, to represent her generation, if you will, of women who have taken their place or are determined to, side by side with the men of this country. Inevitably, there is going to be attention to what she wears and how she dresses, what designers she favors, how she conducts herself. They obviously respond to somebody they know in the crowd. And they know a lot of people. These two have been crossing the country for a long time, and there's the Gore family. 3 daughters and a son. This is their home. The Gores have been living here for a long time. They met when he was a senior at St. Albans. Tipper and Al Gore did, and he was a standout athlete and a very good student, went on to Harvard.
But they will move into vice president's residence.
Yes, and
at the Avenue, right?
those are good digs up off Massachusetts Avenue.
Mm-hmm.
Hard to believe, but it was less than a year ago that Bill Clinton almost stumbled in his first presidential primary in New Hampshire and then came back just far enough to survive to go on to the southern primaries. Seems like this has been going on for 10 years. Bill Clinton was a student at Georgetown University in Washington, D.C. He ran, as someone said, for freshman class president in the first 10 minutes and for student body president in the first 30 minutes of his arrival, and was elected to both jobs. Now they come directly on to the final stretch past Lafayette Park. Begin to see the full majesty of their new residence, to absorb the acclamation of the crowd.
Tom, just let me pass on one little piece of business. We just found out that the Senate has, as expected, approved President Clinton's choice of Lloyd Bentsen as Treasury Secretary. They voted to understand a little more than 2 hours after Bill Clinton was sworn in. It's to act later today on the nominations of Les Aspin as Defense Secretary and Warren Christopher as Secretary of State. Willard Scott is opposite the reviewing stand down there. Willie?
Is that you, Brian?
Yeah, I hear you, my friend. What's going on?
Bless your heart. The sun is absolutely glorious today. It's about 45 degrees. You couldn't ask for a better inauguration. We are right across from the White House next to the Treasury, and the truck with all the folks coming by now indicates the president probably is only about 3 minutes away from us, where we're standing at Madison right here on Pennsylvania Avenue. Of course, we see the camera crews and the photographers, and I know Katie's in one of those trucks, but we're going to try to get a hug. We're waiting for the president. Of course, Mrs. Clinton and Chelsea, and I don't know, Sox. Is Sox in this parade?
I think Sox is checking out the new digs at the White House at the moment. Right.
Who do you see? Hey, look out.
That whole area, as we have said, has been restored, and just around the corner from there is the Willard Hotel, and it was in that hotel that was to be torn down that Abraham Lincoln spent the night before his inauguration when he first came to Washington.
Willard, help me out with the geography. Can you see the Clintons from your position right there?
I just can right now, Brian, just as you mentioned it, as a matter of fact. And I guess maybe 100 yards away from us right now. He's on the southern side of the street, right in front of the Treasury, and he loves the crowd, and the crowd loves him. He's getting a very warm welcome. American flags being waved, the Boy Scouts, the Girl Scouts, the Congressional Medal of Honor winners, and they look terrific from where I'm standing. And we're going to try to get them as they come by.
In her poem this morning, that evocative piece by Maya Angelou, she talked about the rocks and the trees and what they have been witness to. And the rocks and trees in Lafayette Park have been witness to so many triumphs and so many tragedies here on Pennsylvania Avenue, the site of the funeral of John F. Kennedy. The triumph, of course, just 3 years before of his arrival in his capital. The street down which Franklin Roosevelt proceeded to the White House when he was inaugurated. And it was down the street as well that his casket was born. I remember vividly the night that Richard Nixon was forced to resign from the presidency. Great mixture of solemnity, and sorrow, and celebration on the part of a lot of people who were happy to see him go. Jimmy Carter walked down this street. Ronald Reagan came down Pennsylvania Avenue after having happily announced that the hostages were free. George and Barbara Bush 4 years ago, and now the turn of Bill and Hillary Clinton.
Willard, I know what a shrinking violet you are, but I would assume you're taking appropriate steps to make sure that the First Family notices your presence.
Okay. Hey, Mr. President! Hey, Mr. President! Hey, fantastic! Incredible! Huh? Hey, Mr. President! Come on over. Give me a hug. Yeah,
Willard Bulldog Scott. Go get him, Willie.
We had a shot, but that's it. We gave it. I lost 5 pounds.
Well, you're 1-1,
hey.
Lord.
Hey. Hey, Chelsea. Fantastic. Fantastic.
I think in fairness to Willard and all the others who want very much to reach out and touch the president, Secret Service has worked this out well in advance with the Clintons. They say you're going to stray no farther than 4 feet on either side of that middle stripe. And for security purposes, that's where you have to stay. We just can't allow you to go beyond that. And we ask your cooperation in that. And then if you go across to one group, how do you resist going to the next?
It wasn't for Willard's lack of effort.
No.
That's for sure. Katie was still up front there.
Hi, Tom. Hi, Bryant. I was just pointing at some of the dignitaries I just saw. Admiral Crowgan, General Powell, Sandra Day O'Connor of the Supreme Court, obviously, are sitting right under this presidential seal. Anyway, that's where those are really the high-priced tickets under this really cover, so in bad weather they'll have no problem at all. But still, there are some other people who are sitting in these bleacher seats that cost anywhere from $10 to $50 to $100. Something tells me that these seats cost, I'm sure, $100 and not the 10 or 50. And as Bryant said earlier, only 15% of the tickets available went to the general public compared to 50% back in 1989 during the Bush inaugural. So it's questionable whether this inauguration was for the people as much as it was advertised as such.
We've been dwelling on that some, but the fact is that you have not heard a whole lot of complaints from the public so far. I mean, I think that everybody seems to be having a good time. Harry Thomason said this morning that they expect to make a profit on all of us and pay back the government.
He told Katie that. I was a little bit surprised. He refused to identify the exact price of this celebration.
Let's go to Maria Shriver, who's there with Harry Thomason right now. Maria?
Oh, okay, Tom, I'm sorry. We can barely hear you because I think the president has stopped right out in front of the reviewing stand. But I am here with Mr. Thomason, who has been organizing all of this. And you were here with the president this morning. How did he say he felt? What was he excited about?
I think he's ready to get the job started and maybe get on with the ceremony.
Does he feel overwhelmed by all of these activities?
Well, he didn't say, but I certainly feel overwhelmed by all the activities. So it would have to be overwhelming to stand up in that sea of people. I don't know how many were there, and look out and know that you're about to be the next president of the United States.
Did he say he was nervous this morning?
No, he was perfectly calm and in a good mood.
It's incredible to think that he wasn't nervous, though, getting ready to make the speech of his life, take on the job that he's been dreaming about since he was a little boy.
I would certainly think he would have to be nervous, but he certainly didn't display any nervousness.
You are going to be spending the night here at the White House tomorrow night?
Right, we're going to try out the Lincoln bedroom tomorrow night.
What did they say? Have they had a chance to go look through the house, get their stuff in order?
Not yet.
Not at all?
Later today.
And so he's going to walk in here, you're going to sit in here and join him?
That's right.
Okay, terrific. Thank you so much for stopping, and congratulations. Tom?
Maria?
Yeah?
Bill Clinton came all the way from Hope, Arkansas. Ask Harry what it's like to be a former high school football coach from Arkansas and get to this position.
Tom Brokaw wants to know, and I think if I understood him, what it's like to be a former high school football coach and come all this way.
Still crowds cheering.
It feels good.
It feels good, and coaching was good, and this is good. And the fact that a friend of ours is the president is very good, and very good because we think he'll do his best to do what he said he would do in his campaign and make this country a better place.
Do you think he has a sense of how much his life has changed and is about to change?
I think he already has a sense of how much freedom you lose when you become president of the United States, and it has to be the most demanding job in the world.
Your life's changed a lot by being his pal, too.
It has.
Harry Thomason, thanks so much. Have a great day. Thanks a lot. Tom?
Maria, we were just laughing at her because Harry and Linda Thomas are looking forward to their evening in the White House in the Lincoln bedroom. I do believe that last night Billy Graham was the gentleman who spent the night in the Lincoln bedroom as the last guest of George and Barbara Bush.
Well, that's a change.
Guest bedroom.
That's right. Linda said that Bloodworth Thomason said she wanted to jump up and down on the bed, but Hillary said, no, it may not be a good idea. It may be a little more fragile than being able to withstand that. We've just gotten a news bulletin here of no great urgency. Les Aspin has now been confirmed as Secretary of Defense. That was fully expected, of course. He went singing through. The only hitch right now in the cabinet is Zoe Baird. She has to testify some more tomorrow. And then the question is, will she get confirmed by the full Senate? There is beginning to build, according to senators that I've been talking to, some movement out in the country saying that perhaps she should not be confirmed for having acknowledged that she broke the law by hiring illegal aliens, failing to pay Social Security taxes. Let's just look here for a few moments at Bill and Hillary Clinton relishing this moment.
Okay, we're going to leave this picture for just a little bit to go on down to Andrea Mitchell, who has a very special guest, President Clinton's new Chief of Staff, Mac McClarty. Andrea?
Thank you very much, Bryant. We're here with Thomas Mac McClarty, the new Chief of Staff. I guess I should say welcome to the White House. I got here at least a few hours before you did.
Well, thanks very much. We're honored to be here and certainly privileged to serve the American people.
As Bill Clinton's oldest friend that we know of, since you were his friend in kindergarten. What were your emotions today?
Oh, there were a lot of emotions today. One of immense pride, real feeling, positive feeling for a friend who had worked so long and hard, not just for this goal, but for public service and to serve the people of this country. And I think his inaugural comments underscored the depth and the feeling of his emotions.
You know, he called on Americans to change, to be responsible, to make some sacrifices. He said that at the same time, this is the first generation that will have to invest in their children and also cut a massive budget deficit. How do you do both?
Well, I think that's consistent, Andrea, very much with the campaign. I think he emphasized very appropriately not sacrifice just for additional burdens or sacrifice sake, but for our sake. And at the same time, the need to change, but change for a reason and a purpose, and to move this country forward. And that's consistent with the Putting People First campaign that the people of this country voted for in both the primary and the general election.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. McClarty. I know you're on your way into the reviewing stand to greet the President and First Lady, and we wish you well.
Well, thanks. Really, we're on our way in the White House to get to work this afternoon, try to be organized for this day and tomorrow. Thanks. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Thank you.
To Tom?
Thank you, Andrea Mitchell and Mac McClarty. That really is a remarkable passage. They met in kindergarten, those two. Bill Clinton then moved away to Hot Springs. Mac McClarty stayed there, became everything in Hope, Arkansas, captain of the football team, president of the class. They went to Boys State together. Mac McClarty was Boys State governor, and Bill Clinton became Boys Nation representative. And now they find themselves running the country.
My favorite note of the day, Tom. What's a frustrated Republican diehard to do when the airwaves are full of Democratic celebration? We understand that one answer is the Republican Policy Committee's Channel 26, which serves the Senate offices on a closed circuit basis. All this time, they have been featuring the 1981 presidential inaugural address of Ronald Reagan and 1989's inaugural speech by George Bush. That's what's been playing nonstop from 9 a.m. until 3 this afternoon.
We'll be back with continuing coverage, but first a station break.
NBC News coverage of the Clinton inaugural will continue.
Why did the Oscar-winning director of Rain Man, Diner, The Natural, Good Morning Vietnam, and Bugsy decide his next story could only be told on television? Find out after the Super Bowl. Barry Levinson's Homicide on NBC. Just wait till you see it.
Every second of an asthma attack can feel like an eternity. That's why there's Primatene Mist. Primatene opens clogged breathing tubes in as fast as 15 seconds. Primatene Mist, the fastest type relief known.
My hemorrhoids hurt so much, I was afraid I needed surgery. But my doctor said they weren't serious, and it's time I used Preparation H.
Preparation H helps shrink swelling of inflamed hemorrhoidal tissues and often relieves pain, itching, and burning for hours. Doctor recommended Preparation H.
I never again want to see my wife with that look on her face. Or the kids. When your home is burglarized, the worst thing the crooks take is your family's peace of mind. The worst thing. I was so naive. I thought the neighborhood was safe. I was so naive. I could have done something to help prevent it. I could have done something. I could have. Don't do it to your family. Do something now.
Call 800-2-BRINKS now and save $50 on Brinks Home Security. Call now, before it's too late.
The Oprah Contest, today at 4 on Channel 5.
We're back along Pennsylvania Avenue. Bill and Hillary Clinton have gotten out of the car. They've walked to the reviewing stand, and now the parade officially begins. You'll be hearing the phrase a lot if you have not already. FOB, Friends of Bill. He has assembled a great political network over the years, and NBC's Tom Pettit is down on Pennsylvania Avenue with a couple of FOBs right now, I'm told, or he will be shortly. No, he's not yet.
No, he's not yet.
There's some of those FOBs, by the way, like Strobe Talbot, they met when they were at Oxford, and he is about to get a very important new job in the State Department. He's kind of the ambassador at large to the newly independent states of Eastern Europe and the former Soviet Union. So that's one more good idea to pick out your friends early on.
Of one thing you can be sure, the number of FOBs has multiplied considerably since November.
Bill knew him well. We used to run around at Georgetown all the time together.
For the first time this morning, I actually heard somebody downplay their relationship. Marilyn Horne was our guest earlier this morning, and when she was referred to as a friend of Bill Clinton, she said, no, I'll only take acquaintance.
But when you're Marilyn Horne and you're, you know, after all, a diva at the opera.
You can get away with it.
That's right.
Obviously.
Absolutely. You don't need even a president of the United States.
Obviously.
Okay, well, we want to give you a kind of a reading on what's going to happen here the rest of the day. We're about to go back down to the parade in a few moments. We'll be doing that until an appropriate hour this afternoon. Then I'll be back here with Nightly News tonight. We do want to remind you as well that at 10 o'clock tonight, we're going to be your ticket to the inaugural balls. Katie Couric and I will be at the Arkansas Ball. We'll have Maria Shriver at the MTV Ball, and we'll be all over the city. Can we see the invitation, please?
These are the ones.
The hot tickets.
These are the hot ones. These are the MTV
how much am I bidding?
Ball tickets for these jobs. And we understand the president is going to make an appearance at this one, right?
I think he is. Okay, we'll be back with more right after this.
The presidential inaugural ceremonies are being sponsored in part by mountain-grown Folgers coffee. Folgers, the best part of waking up. And by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately?
When Ford refined the full-size car, we made its shape more aerodynamic. Its V8 engine more powerful, and yet more efficient. We also added to its comfort and even its safety with available anti-lock brakes and dual airbags. But through it all, one thing about the Ford Crown Victoria has remained the same. It's still as quiet as a Rolls-Royce.
Have you driven a Ford lately?
Every morning, everywhere, when the sun wakes up the sky, let Folgers be there to open up your eyes. So stirring blue, nothing that aroma cannot do, waking you and me, waking everyone in harmony. Best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup.
Wow, that's a lot of shrimp.
At Red Lobster, for a limited time, enjoy 30 shrimp for just $9.99.
What sounds good to you folks tonight? 30 shrimp, please. Great choice.
With lemon pepper shrimp, succulent scampi, delicious grilled shrimp, and our famous fried shrimp. That's 4 different kinds. 30 shrimp on one plate, just $9.99 at only one place.
Only at Red Lobster.
And kids get shrimp too. A complete meal, just $1.99.
Used People, Golden Globe Award nominations for both Best Actress Shirley MacLaine and Best Actor Marcello Mastroianni.
You are the sun in the sky.
Newsweek says Jessica Tandy and Sylvia Sidney are masterfully directed.
What?
Kathy Bates and Marcia Gay Harden are superb. Used People, as charming as Moonstruck and fried green tomatoes together. Rated PG-13. Starts Friday at a theater near you.
We're back, and the Democrats have taken a page right out of the Republican playbook. They're making money on this inauguration. They have the free market economy well in mind. The most popular item, something to do with a saxophone, whether it's a pin or a keychain or whatever. These are being sold in shops all over town. And the Democrats do have a sense of humor. They've got a button out that says, the inauguration of Bill Clinton, inhale to the chief. Referring, of course, to that memorable time when he said he didn't inhale when he was given marijuana for the first time. And Bill and Al's excellent adventure. Golf balls.
Well, of course.
With the presidential seal.
With the presidential seal. That's right. With the inaugural seal, I guess I should say.
Well, he is a golfer, so we'll be seeing more of that. Tom Pettit is down on Pennsylvania Avenue with a couple of FOBs. Those are friends of Bill. Tom?
Tom, these are both Yale Law classmates of the new president. Bill Coleman on the left from Detroit, Don Pogue from Hartford, Connecticut. Gentlemen, each of you first, please, Bill. What makes Clinton tick?
Well, I think he has just a naturally robust personality. When you spend time around him, he's the type of person you never forget. He has the type of ability to bring out other people's best abilities and personalities. And I think he also has a sense of mission in the sense that he knew that he got special opportunities as a child and saw that but for those special opportunities, the script written for him could have been quite different.
Don, did you know the script had been written then?
Oh, absolutely. In a word, Tom, people make Bill tick.
and the power of belief in people. And it was very clear even in law school that Bill was called to work with people and get the best out of them, and I think he's doing that now.
It sounds almost like a calling in a religious sense, the way you say it.
Well, I think it was spiritual. I think there was a real meaning to it. I think that's absolutely true in a way, but it's secular, I think. You know.
Both of you know him then and now. What would you say is his weakness?
I don't know whether you describe... Okay, I don't know whether you would describe it as a weakness. Obviously, there's the issue of time. When you develop so many relationships with such a broad range of people, just your time and your ability to get in-depth relationships with them, as he was able to do in law school, is something that obviously would be of concern. I don't necessarily say it's a weakness, but something that arises from the circumstances.
Don, was he always on time for class?
Not always. No, he wasn't always on time. I think that his weakness was that he was capable of doing so many things, but it's very interesting to watch his career and how he's dealt with that, focused on the priorities that he set over time, paid careful attention not to spreading himself too thin.
Do you have any particular memories of him at Yale?
Oh, absolutely. You know, virtually everybody that we knew was involved in politics at some time or another, and Bill always used to come home. Everybody else would come home frustrated at one moment or another, but never Bill. He'd always come home talking about what he'd learned from those frustrations, and that was tremendous.
We've just learned the frustration from that. Tom?
Thank you very much. Tom Pettit with two FOBs, two former classmates of Bill Clinton, saying what so many people have said about him. He has so many friends, and the question is getting him to concentrate on one subject at a time.
And it's interesting, as he told you, I think, on the bus ride, one of his objectives in coming, as he starts his administration, is not to lose touch, not only with the people who put him here, but also with the friends that he's known all his life. He wants to continue to share those friendships.
And he's a guy who likes to stay up at night. I mean, he continued the old college tradition of bull sessions until well in the morning, apparently even last night with Al Gore, talking about what they would like to do for the country. We'll be back right after this.
Well, the first time I tried it, it was like, whoa, this is a new experience.
Introducing new Arm & Hammer Dental Care Tartar Control Gel.
With the Arm & Hammer Tartar Control, it's just like I left the dentist chair. You know that polished feeling you get when the tartar's gone and your teeth feel brand new? Arm & Hammer is the only tartar control gel with baking soda and a fresh mint taste. So now I get that fresh from the dentist feeling anytime I feel like it.
New Arm & Hammer Tartar Control Gel for that fresh from the dentist feeling of clean. And now you can try the feeling for free. Look for this free trial size coupon in Sunday's papers.
Introducing Ford Taurus and the List. Quality, design, and safety are all at the top of our list, which is why we're at the top of this list. Ford Taurus, the best-selling car in America.
Quilting is not only in fashion, it's also in the tissue. New Kleenex Softique. Softique is quilted, so it's softer, prettier, and while fashion has its place, we think you'll find more places for this. New Kleenex Softique. It's quilted, so it's softer, and that's always in style.
What do these breath mints have that tic-tac-toe? More zip? Nah. More pleasure? Uh-uh. Oh, I remember. More calories. I knew there was something.
The biggest medical news of the 90s may be a special group of vitamins called antioxidants, because healthy bodies need antioxidants like beta-carotene to help strengthen the body's natural defenses against cell damage. Centrum contains the complete antioxidant group, plus more vitamins and minerals than any leading brand. So eat right, and to supplement your diet, take Centrum, more complete from A to zinc, and with the complete antioxidant group, more important than ever.
The newly sworn president has made it to the reviewing stand. The parade is underway, and as you can see, some of the floats and bands are making their way down the parade route. All seems right on this inauguration day, and the vendors, too, are doing a brisk business. Bob Hager is visiting at one souvenir stand. Bob?
The line goes way down to the corner there,
about 75 or 100 people in this line. The wait is a little more than a half an hour. It's all for a souvenir shop. It's called Inaugural Commemorative. It's a private enterprise business. It's licensed by the Clinton-Gore people, and some of the royalties go to the inaugural committee. So part of it helps to defray inaugural costs. But they keep those people outside because of the fire rules, because look how the store is crowded here. What do you guess? This is the manager, Paul Storch. I suppose, what do you allow in at one time? Maybe 50, 60 people? Or?
Oh, I would say no more than that at one time.
I just want to show some of these things here. Now let's see. This is the bestseller. That's a $35 number there. That's a silver saxophone. So we're not talking Republicans here. We're talking Democrats. And the most popular souvenir is the $35 saxophone. Or there's the 50-cent variety there, little saxophone. And yo-yo. This may be significant because it bounces back like both Gore and Clinton did from previous. That's made with recycled material, by the way. And under there, Paul, is your most expensive item. What is that? How much?
This is $925, and this is a set of medallions. We have one bronze, one silver, and one gold. It's
$975. Okay, got to send it back. Thanks a lot, Paul.
That is still, Bob, I understand, less than the top item was the Bush inaugural 4 years ago, which was a Steuben glass piece of glasswork that was somewhere in the neighborhood of $1,100. A couple of pieces of business. Number one,
$1,100. Well, $950 is not far off.
Oh, not far off. No. Number one, I misspoke saying that Bill Clinton, President Clinton, had made it to the reviewing stand. He still is inside the White House, has not quite emerged to that stand. Number two, that the Senate, as expected, has now confirmed Warren Christopher as Secretary of State. And as we look to the White House...
We've taken care of the big three. We've taken care of Treasury, Defense, and State.
That's right.
That's important.
Benson, Aspin, and Christopher all confirmed as expected.
There they are at the White House, about to go to the reviewing stand, and we'll pick up our coverage of their arrival at the reviewing stand right after this.
NBC News coverage of the Clinton inaugural will continue.
Everyone wanted a fashion queen dead. Somebody got their wish. One man knows who.
Perry Mason.
A deadly designer whodunit. Friday at 8, 7 Central on NBC.
I have reason to believe the government has me under surveillance.
What's that clicking noise?
No one threatens my family.
A family under siege on Flyaway NBC Friday.
I never worry about money now that I use Quicken.
Now we're organized.
With Quicken, we always know exactly where our money's going.
And exactly how much we have.
Yes, Quicken, the world's best-selling finance software and the fastest, easiest way to organize your home and small business finances. Quicken tracks bank accounts, investments, tax information, budgets, credit cards, and loans. And it's simple. If you can use a checkbook, you can use Quicken because your screen looks exactly like your checkbook. Just type in the payee, the amount, Quicken does the rest. Every transaction automatically categorized, so a keystroke shows you where your money goes with revealing graphs like income and expenses, budgets, net worth, and more. And it's fast.
Quicken just reconciled my whole bank statement in 2 minutes.
So if you have a PC with DOS or Windows, call now to try Quicken free for 60 days. We won't charge your credit card unless you decide to keep Quicken. Call now. Call 1-800-624-3929, 1-800-624-3929.
Call the Volunteer 5 hotline today at 969-VOL5.
Vice President and Mrs. Gore arriving in the reviewing stand now, being piped in effect, being announced by the announcer there. We just passed by Maria Shriver and said it's been a wonderful day so far. Gore children in place as well. And now we're about to get the formal announcement of the President. Secretary under Upper protected from the elements there. You may remember that it was a bitterly cold day when John F. Kennedy was inaugurated, and he sat there hatless. Everybody else retreated to the warmth of the White House, and he stuck it out. And that was a symbol as well, I think, of the new energy and the tenacity and the machismo quality of the Kennedy administration. He sat through that cold. That's his brother, Roger Clinton, who we'll be hearing from later tonight. A painful episode in their lives, stepbrothers. Roger Clinton had a drug problem, and the state police discovered it, and they went to Bill Clinton when he was governor and said, we think that we're going to have to do a sting on him, and Bill Clinton signed off on it.
Of course, Roger now working for the Thomasons on one of their programs. Of course, you talk of the weather, we also remember 8 years ago how the second inaugural of Ronald Reagan, the events were called off.
So cold.
Because it was so cold that they thought it represented a hazard to the principals and the participants alike.
ABC's Tom Pettit on the parade route with Jesse Jackson. Tom?
Thank you, Tom. I'm here with Jesse Jackson, Reverend Jesse Jackson.
And Cicely Tyson.
Indeed.
And my son Yusef. The whole world is here.
How about the rest of the whole grandstand?
Oh, it's a tremendous day. There's such diversity here of people, from Native Americans to Hispanic Americans, Arab Americans, Jewish Americans. There's a great sense of Americanness here today. Very high hopes and high expectations. And now that Democrats have the power and have the presidency, we must honor the covenant to keep people inspired. People are here and they voted for new direction, to reinvest in our cities, to stop forsaking our farmers, for a fair trade agreement for workers, for DC statehood, for freedom for Haitian people, to educate our children. I mean, the real stuff that affect people's day-to-day lives, send them to the polls in record numbers, and now we must hit the ground running.
Are you going to be keeping a scorecard on his promises?
Well, I think it is fair that promises made ought to be kept, and that the covenant made with the people is the key to winning and deserving to win and making America better. After all, the covenant for a new national health care system, 40 million people uninsured, is real good stuff. The idea to wipe out homelessness without wiping out the homeless people is the right stuff, and certainly we have a moral obligation to be a source of conscience, to be a watchdog, to make certain that the covenant is kept on both ends.
And when you disagree, you'll tell the president.
Well, I mean, I expect to meet with Warren Christopher tomorrow to talk about Haitian policy and to lead a delegation to Haiti on this coming Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, because we say to the warlords in Kuwait, get out. We say to the warlords in Somalia, get out. The warlords in Panama, get out. We must say to the warlords in Haiti, get out. If we were to tell the warlords to get out, the issue would not be 100,000 people coming here trying to escape. It would be 10 or 12 people like the Duvaliers looking for asylum. And so if we're consistent with human rights policy, we're going to make the world better and make it happen real soon.
Do you think he has broken the covenant already with the Haitians?
Well, there is some window here of deliberation. I just hope that the reversal is temporary and circumstantial, but early on, we must, in fact, use our strength, diplomatic strength, moral and economic strength, if necessary, the use of our force to restore democracy in Haiti, that the poorest people in the hemisphere might have aid, trade, development, that which we offer our allies around the world.
Ms. Tyson, did you someday expect to see Mr. Jackson leading the parade?
Yes, and I think that that's still to come.
When do you think that might come?
Well, in the not-too-distant future.
Are you pleased with the new president?
Well, I'm pleased in the sense that what I feel here today is an incredible sense of unity among all people.
I think everyone can feel that.
I would hope that will continue.
Thank you both.
We're very glad about this. You know, we traveled to 40 states. We worked real hard.
We gotta go.
We celebrate.
Goodbye.
Good to see you, buddy.
Tom.
Jesse Jackson, who did in fact campaign in 40 states, but it was a delicate relationship always with Bill Clinton. And the fact of the matter is that Bill Clinton sent a strong message to the rest of the country But who would be in charge of the Democratic Party? Would it be Bill Clinton or would it be Jesse Jackson? And that was a big reason for the success that he had in the rest of the country, because Jesse Jackson was very important in registering a lot of voters.
Not only is Jesse Jackson sure to go in and tell the president when he disagrees, you can rest assured that he will tell the president in advance of his disagreement. And he has left no bones about it. As he said, we will insist that promises be kept. And of course, he put D.C. statehood high up on the list. It is a passion of his, but unlikely to happen in the administration of Bill Clinton.
We want to just watch the parade here a little bit in the closing moments of our coverage here this afternoon from the Bill Clinton inauguration. All in place. They've been in the White House. They've looked over the real estate there. There are teams, in fact, representing them who are now putting their hands firmly on the levers of power as Bill Clinton watches the Jesse White tumblers. And the Clinton era is underway. What it will produce, we cannot say at this time, but it begins on a note of this new president emphasizing the theme of change, saying that we cannot expect to get something for nothing, and then calling on the American people all to make some sacrifices and to get involved in public service.
Well, it's begun on all the right harmonious notes. Of course, 4 years is a long time, remains to be seen. As you noted a little bit earlier, tomorrow morning it dawns on him the enormity of it all. It's time to get down to business.
Brian, it's always a pleasure to be with you here in
been a lot of fun, my friend.
It has been indeed. I'll see you tonight on NBC Nightly News, then later with Katie Couric for the inaugural brawls. For now, I'm Tom Brokaw for Brian Gumbel in Washington.
The mystery is about to unfold. It's only a matter of time before someone is killed. There's a stranger in Salem this week on Days of Our Lives, NBC Daytime.
You're watching News Channel 5, where the news comes first.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Rick Edlund.
And I'm Karen Foss. With his right hand on his family Bible, Bill Clinton takes the oath of office. Tonight at 5, find out if he's connecting with the next generation.
The tensions in the Middle East are now Mr. Clinton's problems. Tonight at 5, we'll see if a new ceasefire is holding.
And a break in the case of that fire in a North County school.
And join us right here tonight at 5.
This News Channel 5 update